Okay, so I don't know where I left off the last time, but this is where I'm at now. So you remember these were just sitting there and there was a slot through here. So I was going to drill and tap this bolt pattern, but then I thought better of it because I want to be able to adjust this so I can get it perfectly aligned with my die up there. So when it goes forward, I'm not at an angle like this. I'm perfectly straight going forward. So what I've done is I've got a piece of plate here. This is 105 cold rolled plate. I painted it. I've got the whole pattern laser cut into this. So I had this laser cut at work, or well, I laser cut it at work. And that acts as almost like a washer because this is essentially the width of the slot. So if I didn't put that there, it would pull it into the slot and sort of make it bow in because of the ends here. So then you see the plate under here, and that is drilled and tapped. So the screws, you can see one screw that's sort of started in it. And essentially what that's going to do is sandwich this plate once I put all the screws in here and pull them down. I've taken them out now so I can adjust. And then I made this plate. So this is another 105 cold rolled, and this is bolted onto these that are this way. So I've got two, I don't know what you call these things, carrier thingies. And then I've got two here and two here. I do have a little bit of rust, which I'm going to have to fiddle with. But this thing moves back and forth very, very easily. And then I tried to stagger it, and so when I made this, I put 6 inches, I think, it may have been 4. Let's see, it's about 6 inches, I don't know. Anyway, so I staggered this to where I would be able to get to my bolts here and them not interfere with anything on this. So I can still access these if I need to. I've got 2 bolt patterns on either end for that. I didn't realize that was going to get in my way. I'll have to cut those off somehow. So I'll have to fiddle with that. And then I've got another one over here. Actually, that one doesn't interfere at all. And that one, actually those might be okay. It comes just to the side of where the thing is, so if I chop that part off, I'll probably be okay. So these bolts, this is all they had at Fastenal. They were really long. I got them specifically to go through all of this, so I got them a little extra long. I probably should have got them a little shorter. I also had to trim the heads on these things. So you see the head, I actually put it in my mill in a collet and put a lathe chuck in my vise and just ran it into the lathe chuck because I had to do boatloads of these things to get them to fit because the head was too fat to go into the rail. And I actually had to drill these holes out, which was interesting to say the least. So now my next thing that I've got to do is measure. I think this is 6 inches. So I'll make a plate that'll go here. And I bought some where these are just linear rails. It's like all of this put together. It has a ball screw and everything, and then a carrier thingy that the ball screw moves back and forth on a linear rail. So it's all built together, and it goes up and down 8 inches. So eventually what I may do is re-drill the hole here and tap another 3/4 inch hole in that slot. You can't really see it, but if you look right in here, right there is a 3/4 inch bolt that's holding that on there. And what I may do is come down another 4, however many inches I can do to drop it to here. So this distance where this will actually touch down here. If I do that, then this whole thing will drop down further, because if anything, I'm too high now. I'm pretty well just right when you consider this is where my lowest die is going to be, so you can see I've got that much height. But if I ever take this block out, then I'm actually going to be too low, I think. So if you were to put that here, you can see that I'm already above that. So I'll eventually drop this whole thing down, I think, at some point. So there's that. So what I'm going to do next is make a part that goes here that has like something that I can indicate off of this. Or what I can actually do is put my dial indicator here and put a needle out here and then sweep. No, actually that wouldn't work, I don't think. Anyway, I'll have to figure out a way to make sure this is perfectly straight. So I think I'm going to have to build something here and put something here to indicate against, so I can sweep and then come over here, indicate against this and that surface. So I'll clean those off to where an indicator will hit that and then go all the way here, and I should be able to zero between this point and this point. And if I can do that where I sweep this back and forth and I get a 0 here and a 0 here, then I know that this is straight according to the die. So I have to, that's loose, so I'm going to have to push that in to where it seats up against this back part here. And then that'll be the next thing that I'm going to have to do. I don't think that'll be too terrible. I'll make a couple of small plates for this, and essentially the part that I've got will go up and down an inch here. What I'm going to do then, and I'm just waiting on Amazon to bring those to me. Where did I put that thing? Here it is. So I have 2 of these right here. These are going to be my fingers, and that little thing on the front is just kind of a temporary thing. So this will sort of go up and down, so I can rise this up and down. I think initially I'm going to tie these 2 together where I have one axis that goes up and down, but I may set it up to where I can pick one up and drop one down. I'm just not sure, and I'm still debating on if I want to make one or both of these axes be able to go forward or backwards. I don't know that I want to do that. We have that option on our Safin, and to be honest with you, 99% of the time it's kind of more hassle than it's worth, and I don't trust that that's going to stay. So I think I'd rather fix this perfectly, and I can make adjustments here and then lock it down here. So once I get these perfect, I can use these to adjust it, or if I put a different style finger, I can do that. This is really short, so you can see where this is at, and that's as far forward as I'm really going to be able to go. So what I think I'm going to do, and the reason I set this sort of back where it's at, I'm thinking I may actually set them back a little further, to where when I come all the way to the back here, that's hitting something. Let's say I come all the way to the back, that is the maximum length of a flange that I can actually use. So if I were to make this where it can come back here, you know, so it can back up like that, and then on this part, essentially make something that will bolt here that will actually go on top of this and go that way, and then have a surface registering here along with a surface up here, and make it where it's, you know, say 12 inches long. So I can use this surface that's here. I can also back up to this surface depending on what I do. So I just know to offset exactly 12 inches from here to here if I have a long flange, or if I have a short flange, it will come in to here. So what I'm trying to do is I want a arm that when it bottoms out here, it will actually go all the way out here. It'll go to the middle of the die if I want it to. So anyway, but yeah, that's where I'm at so far. I've done all of this today, so it didn't take that long. Obviously it helps if you have access to laser cutters and stuff like that. So I painted it in my paint booth over there, used the heat lamps to kind of cure the paint a little bit, and I got a little impatient. The paint's not perfect, but you can see this gives me a really nice set of fingers. And once I put the ball screws, so you're going to have ball screws that go here beside this, and then I'll make a mount that probably somehow attaches here that will hold my motor back here. So it'll actually protrude back past this, probably, in order to get that to come all the way back. Actually, it'll probably be about there. So that will move this back and forth. I could also attach it here, but I don't think I want to do that. I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do with that yet. No, I think I'll attach it here. That way if I move these, they'll go with each other. So anyway, you get the idea. It's starting to come along. So go get those ball screws. Kind of give you an idea of how this is. So I've got these super long ball screws in here. And if you see this part, that's what actually goes in that aluminum part. And then you've got this bolt pattern. So that will go that way. And yeah, so that's where my motor will end up being, I believe. And what I'm probably going to end up having to do is shorten these quite a bit. So I'm going to have to screw this back, figure out my length, chop it, and then use a tool post grinder to grind down to get a new surface like that. I might be able to use a lathe tool, like a carbide or something. I'm not sure. So the sad part is a lot of these are actually extra now. So I'm going to actually use these to go here. So this will go across the face, where if I want supports, I can put them here. So I'm going to have two of these. They don't have to be super precision, but it'll give me something to work with. So I'm going to use these two, and then I've got this sort of extra. That's extra. These ball screws are extra. So I've got a few extra pieces that I'll end up using for other stuff. But that's neat. You get the idea. So there's some couplers for the motors. I don't know what good those are going to do me right now. But anyway, so I've got a few extra pieces and parts, but we're getting there. Slowly but surely. So now it's just, I'm going to finish this part, get this right, probably go ahead and make a mount plate for this and this, and use that plate, because I think these are aluminum, not steel. Use that plate to put my indicator on. Go ahead and tighten this up and run back and forth until I get exactly what I'm looking for on my parallel to my die. Once I get that, all of these will get tightened down so it won't move like that anymore. It'll be nice and tight and stay where it's at. And then this will be done as far as the forward and backwards. And then I'm going to start working on bracketry to put my ball screws here and here, because this is actually the most important part as far as accuracy. These can be off 1/10 of a thou and it's not gonna, or 1/10 of an inch, and it really won't matter for the most part. So they can really be off if they have to be, but this has to be right. That's why I'm going to put ball screws here and belts here. So these bolt hole, these are 2 inches on center, yeah, 2-inch bolt patterns. I just added these because I'm going to have to figure out a way to mount a motor here. So I'm going to have to make a bracket that's going to bolt from underneath. And I just realized I'm going to have to somehow miss all of these bolts that it's going to be going through. So I'll have to model that and then put an access hole that will allow me access to this. And essentially I'm going to have one motor that sticks out, say, 1 inch past this. And then I'm going to have another motor that's going to stick out maybe 2 inches. So they'll be offset by 1 inch. You'll have a 15mm wide belt here and a 15mm wide belt behind it. And those belts are what's actually going to carry these. So the bracket that comes off here is going to have a clamp type deal that will clamp the 2 ends of the belt. So you'll have an end of a belt coming this way, end of a belt coming this way, and then that's going to clamp that belt, which is going to hold the belt to this. So it'll be affixed. So as this is moving back and forth, the belt is rotating around the motor. So you'll have a motor here, an idler pulley, motor. And that motor is going to be turning the belt, which is going to essentially move these back and forth. It's kind of hard to explain, but when I put it together it'll make more sense. So I'm going to have one for this one and then an offset one towards the rear for this one, or vice versa. I don't know which yet. And then the electronic part's going to be the next part. So I'm going to have a limit switch to where if this hits that, it stops. It doesn't try to push one or the other one in either direction. So like if I accidentally don't think and I stop and I run this in too close to the other one, I need a limit switch on one of these that's going to essentially go boop and stop. So if I bump this way, it stops. If I bump this way, it stops. So anyway, I'm rambling at this point. So that's where I'm at now. So I just realized that's a little off. I have to, oh, there we go. Actually, I should probably pull these backwards to put some space here. But I'll do that tomorrow. Either way, you guys get the idea. I hope that makes sense. But these will be my CNC back gauges. I love these linear rails. They're so slick. Makes life so easy. Ain't that cool? So I'm slowly getting there. Anyway, you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.